My name's Jen, and I love camping, canoeing, hiking, all kinds of outdoor adventures. I've been doing it my whole life. I invite you to join me. Subscribe to my channel, follow along, see what fun we're going to have next, because you know what? There are so many adventures still to come. Somebody had a fun campfire. Is that your wood, bud? You going to steal more out of the bag? You crazy dog. Fog is so thick you can't even see across the lake anymore. Hi everybody, thanks for clicking on the video. We are up at Mew Lake in Algonquin Park, and we're here for 3 nights and 4 days of late April spring camping fun. This is day 2. I haven't filmed a lot because honestly it rained for about 24 hours and it was wet and miserable and cool. But we're warm, we've got the hot tent with us, and we've got outdoor fire, we're having a great time, we've done lots of hiking, and yeah, I'm going to show you a little bit about our trip. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so here's the Patchwork Palace. We had to cover it up because of the rain, and it's so many ropes, it's ridiculous. You can see the wind is lifting the tarp a bit. I'm going to try to walk all the way around. We were dry all night, which is fantastic. And I should show you down here. So the ground is really frozen, so we've got pegs in, but they don't go all the way in, and we're having to hold them down with sticks. And then, as you can see here, had to keep that section not tarped so that the chimney could come through. And then all night last night, in the wind and the rain, this corner of the green tarp was just flapping like crazy, so I've got it pegged down so it shouldn't flap around quite as much. Bring you all the way around to this side. You see a couple sticks kind of holding up the side wall. That corner is always really weird looking. Yeah, so that's our setup at Mew Lake. It's pretty, it's really comical actually, but we were really warm and we were really dry, and we've got a couple more nights and we're very comfortable. This field just fascinates me. It looks so cool. I guess it was part of a prescribed burn in 2012 in an effort to increase wildlife and plant life diversity. And I guess it was also an airfield at one time, or part of an airfield. But this is very cool. So many birds. So in the wintertime, this parking lot is turned into a skating rink. And then over there on that far side, you see a giant, huge hot tent that's like a warming station for everybody. Hey, little guy. I think I startled him when I put the garbage in the bin. Oh, look at him go. Super fast climber. Ah, look at him go. No pine marten. Whoop. He's got his head all puffed up. We're good. Something I've learned this winter hot tenting that I'm trying to get better at is being more prepared during the daylight hours for the non-daylight hours, because what's a simple task during the day, once it gets dark and cold, becomes far more difficult. Ooh, I'm post holing in the snow here a little bit. So right now, I'm just out in the bush and I'm collecting super fine twigs like this, and they're going to go under my cot in the hot tent, and this is for getting the fire started in the morning and for if it goes out completely. The lows are only like -1 overnight, even though it's very damp, so don't need to keep the raging fire going all night. So I'm actually just been letting it go out and then restarting it in the morning. But of course, first night was last night, and with all the rain and the craziness, I just didn't do this and prep all this stuff like I want to. So it's late afternoon, early evening, and I just thought, get your stuff ready. because you'll be, whoa, I'm falling in the snow again. You'll be really annoyed with yourself in the morning if you don't. So it's that whole don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today, I guess, with your twigs for getting your fire started in the morning. You helping Mama? Hey, bud. So dinner tonight is butter chicken. It's not a traditional butter chicken recipe. It's just chicken with this awesome sauce packet, a bunch of vegetables that I'm going to soften and fry on the fire, and then some brown rice as well. So it's really flavorful, really filling, and in our house this is like a once around the kitchen kind of a meal where it's whatever vegetables we have left over, that's what goes in the pan, and it's super tasty. It's the first time I'm doing this recipe over the fire and with instant rice and this particular combination of vegetables, so I'm gonna have to just muck around and add water as necessary until it looks like the consistency that we want, which is really creamy and thick and wonderfulness. So it smells fantastic already, I have to say. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. And it's so colorful with the broccoli and the purple cabbage. Shucks, you get your nose out of there. Every time. Every time. I definitely overestimated how much food we needed because we're going to have leftovers. Look at that. Oh darn. Seconds. A lot better. Alright, so here's the inside of the hot tent. Over here we've got the stove, lots of firewood. This is my sleep bunk here. Then I've got my hubby's sleep bunk here. That's the dog's cot. At night, it gets unfolded, and it's like right here in front of where you see this thermarest on the ground right now. And yeah, that's about it. It's not a huge space, but it's super comfortable. And our new cots that we got are fantastic because they have so much room underneath them. Like, look at this. Underneath the cot, I've got storage for so much gear. And like, there's still more space. So over here at night, I have a stash of birch bark, twigs, and kindling for restarting the fire if it goes out through the night. Then I've got my camera stuff and electronics and my clothes. That's an empty bag full of just other stuff sacks. Then under hubby's cot is just the other gear bag, and then pretty much a whole empty space where the equipment pack goes. And then there's still room. We have one chair in here, and when we're sitting in the evenings, the cots are high enough to sit on, but there's still lots of room over here for another chair if we need it. So yeah, very spacious, very cozy. Wow, somebody post-holed. That's gonna be 2.5 feet deep. Staying on the trail. So you can see the snow. Those are not Sasquatch tracks. Those are from snowshoes, and the snow has melted all the way around them because they compacted it. So it's kind of neat. So most of the path is like this. It's like compacted snow that has turned to ice in the sun. And if you step off the side, you're going to post hole down like 1.5 feet deep, or slide down the cliff, basically. So it's slow going, but we're having a good time, and it's so warm right now. Like, it's got to be 15 degrees out. It's crazy. Okay, going up on a lookout here. This trail is so sketchy. Holy moly's! Look at that. Okay. You can't see the bottom. Scat filled with fur. is as close to the edge as I'll get. Still can't really see the bottom. Oh, butterfly. Butterfly photobomb. That looks so steep. All right, we can do this. Okay, so we made it up. It wasn't that bad, actually. There was like footprints in the snow that had frozen that acted like steps. It was worth it. Look at this view. There's the perfect spot right there. Okay, so we just got back from a really fun hike on very icy trails, doing the Two Pines hike, and it's time for lunch. And today we're having tuna wraps. And I'm using these already flavored tuna packets, which are great, especially for backcountry where you can't have cans or bottles because they're a vac seal pack. Then I have some roasted red peppers that I dehydrated that have been rehydrating in a little bit of water in the sun. And then I have some Gruyere cheese, which is really hard cheese and packs extremely well. Slippery little buggers. There we go. Oh, a little dog hair. That's helpful. It's not even over here. And we're all set. It's super flavorful. The Gruyere is really, really nice with the tuna. Yeah, so that's lunch. So the temperature's dropping and the evening's wearing on and it's time for dinner. And we're keeping it pretty simple tonight. We are having some grilled sausages on the fire and then a rice side dish. And then I have a whole bunch of dehydrated vegetables that are rehydrating in the actual water from the roasted red peppers I rehydrated earlier today. So this will be really hearty, really quick, and really tasty. So my tip for the day is if you're doing a side dish or a meal that calls for a specific amount of water, your Nalgene bottles come with the measurements on the side in milliliters and in ounces. And that's great because I can empty the water down to 500 milliliters, which is what I need to put in my pot. I'm good to go. Now, of course, unless you're this Nalgene, which is really old and all the letters have worn off, in which case you might want to bring a measuring cup. Well, dinner's cooked up. We got to eat fast before it cools down as the temperature's starting to drop. So far, it's really tasty, just full of veg. And yeah, it's going to be a nice evening by the fire. Probably won't film too much, but we're going to just relax and stay warm and probably listen to some podcasts later. What are you doing out, buddy? You are going to freeze. Ah! Our lazy breakfast on this very damp, rainy morning. Just got some pre-cooked bacon that we're heating up on the stove. And I'm using tin foil so we can just toss it, no dishes required. Well, pretty much packed up, cleaned up, waiting for the stove to cool off, and then it's time to take her down. Filthy Soxy. Ew. Oh, buddy. What are you doing? Get your chops. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. That's so heavy. Alright, well, we are all packed up after our 4-day, 3-night adventure here at Mew Lake in Algonquin. We loved it here. It was great. It wasn't busy for the first couple of nights. Last night, lots of campers came in. I guess fishing opens today or tonight, so they could be here for the fishing. I'm not really sure. But we had a great time. The site was huge. It was relatively dry. We did lots of hiking, good times. And even though our first day and our last day were days of solid rain, we were good. The hot tent kept us warm and dry, and we've had a really good time. So we'll be back for sure, probably in the fall, maybe when things quiet down again, bring the hot tent for another adventure. But it was great to finally see what it's all about up here at Mew Lake, and it's beautiful. Anyways, I've got to get in the car, got to get the dog somewhat dried off, and start our very long drive home. Thanks for watching. Oh, you're soaked, buddy. We should have brought the shampoo. You could have had your spring bath.